Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna do Medieval Spawn and Witchblade issue number 1 of 3. Yes, that's free. This is a three-parter, and yeah, what you see on screen, guys, is also what you get inside. This was the time when, you know, um, art was very good. Now I don't say that. Well, let's my preference is 90s comics because I think the art in the 90s was way better than what we have now. But that's my personal opinion, of course. Yeah, let's dive in. It's gonna be fun, guys. Anyway, so we are here in 1996, and this is also a book from 1996. So it's written by Garth Ennis, drawn by Brandon Peterson. I don't know what Brandon Peterson is doing. He just, I believe, he did something for DC Comics, but The Flash, but that's about it. Um, Inking by Joe Weems or Matt Joe Weems, I'm not sure. Color it by, this is, I don't know what this letter is. Ashby Manson. All right, and there's also some computer coloring in here. Anyway, so we see this guy, and he says, I just can't help wondering what it's all going to look like in 6 months' time. Okay, so who is this guy? Well, we're gonna find out because I don't know. There's something in this box talking to him. Your mother is a whore, Royale. As a matter of fact, she was. I wasn't aware of that. The two of you have met, not professionally, I hope. So it seems that whatever it's in here is cursing him to a lot, and so he's yelling at him, and he says, "At least I'm not a servant head in a brown paper parcel, bastard." Anyway, 800 years of pain and misery, and you managed to hold a grudge the whole time. I like that. So we go 800 years back in time because it's 1156, AD in the Pyrenees. And it seems that this, I don't know, tyrant, he holds the darkness. Maybe you have known of the darkness from Top Cow Image. Great fun series, by the way, along with the Witchblade. And this is one of the Witchblades that held, well, one of the women that held the Witchblade in the past. There's a whole story behind that. I'm not going really getting into it, but you can Google it, The Darkness and the Witchblade. There's a whole lot of lore. And I think you will having fun with that. Anyway, so Matthew Royale, I never bloody heard of you. So, but Royale says, well, I heard of you, Lord Cardinal, right? You are the wield the darkness power. Though its black sorcery melted to your very soul, you have created a kingdom that stretches from Flanders to the south of Spain. And so he says, I know who I am, Royale. Who the hell are you supposed to be? I am the man who will make you truly mighty. All right, that sounds interesting. So I say, okay, but what do you want? He says, so this tyrant says, I destroy all who stand before me. I create whatever I choose. A citadel, an army, a world of pleasure. Even my Queen Eleanor I form with the magic of my fingertips. With the darkness royale, I am mighty. But then the sorceress says, well, but your darkness is only functional in the dark. So that means your armies can only move in the dark. So it's just a matter of time before the town folk, realize that, and then his reign will be over, right? Because they can move in daylight. This tyrant cannot. So what is your big idea then? Launch an assault on the fairy, the other world that lies beyond our own. The spells perfected by the fairy folks are unimaginable. A man who possesses such knowledge and wield it on earth would rule the world. And so he says, well, you need to tear it down and etc. and claim the prize as your own. So this woman says, what is your interest in all of this? So he says, well, I'm a mere sorcerer. I just want to only have the knowledge of the fairy world, prizes and lore and grimoires and all that stuff, And so she says, are we supposed to believe that? Are we? So this guy says, well, right, it's too good to opportunity to miss. Let's do it. And she says, wait, what? Anyway, so So we go to the fairyland, and oh no, this is gonna happen, and yeah, we see this gorgeous shot. So he says, Toreador, I wouldn't worry. You will be with him again in a few moments. And he's pissing his pants probably. So, who are you? We are the army of darkness. We serve great Cardinal, our most beloved lord and master, and we have to come to our this world. I cannot say the word because YouTube algorithm. And he says, oh no, mercy, I beg of you. Mercy? Not for you, elf boy. And these are just enjoying the show, right? But the sorcerer says, hey, a word of caution. Since the fairy and this world are bleeding together, who knows who might interfere or we can come across with that might interfere in our business. So, and then we're getting, the first shot of Medieval Spawn. Looks great. Like I said, Brandon Peterson's art is phenomenal, really good. So he sees what's going on, he is interfering, and he says, I don't know who you are, you butchers, but you will cease this slaughter now. So this elf goblin monster, you get lost if you know what's good for you. And then, oh no, this is happening. Get him! I also love that this Spawn has this a face of a broken half helmet instead of, the mask that Spawn is wearing. Yeah, fun stuff. Anyway, so Spawn is basically killing all of these goblins. Sorry, the resolution doesn't work. That's it, hold him. Aye, hold me, and his face is melting. You don't see the stuff anymore in modern comics. That's a shame. So the tyrant says, hey, who is the stranger? It's a Spawn, quite a young one too. How odd. Does it pose a threat? Of course not. Right. And then we go to somewhere else in Merry England Day that afternoon. I'm not paying this woman says. 90 bits for a weekend best and breakfast? You gotta be out of your mind. Be reasonable, Katerina. You be bloody reasonable. So she's complaining about she's paying a lot, but he says, well, you're fighting all the time, you drink a lot, and you broke a lot of furniture, and we have also cleaned the blood and all the stains out of the floors and everything else. And you also bribed the Hotspur, Constable Hotspur, for turning a blinding eye. Okay, I don't remember starting fights. Oh, come on. You went up to Volva the Viking and said, you've got a face like a scabby dog's rectum. And then you kicked the living crap out of him. What's not if not starting a fight? He said I have a nice ass. You do. Well, it's the way he said it. Every bloody night, Katerina, some subtle variation of the theme of you getting smashed on a dozen ales and then beating some blockhead to a pulp. It's bad for business, love. Right? And then she says, well, I'm short on cash. Broke. So he says, in that case, let me familiarize you with both options in my non-cash one-step repayment scheme. I love it. I love the humor. So he says, well, there's some stuff there that's sitting there for 10 years. So load it into the wagon and drive it over to Jobby McCurker's Dung Emporium. And I figure we're just about quits. Yeah, right. Second option. It looks at her. Does that sleazy grin mean what I think it means? Oh, yes. Then better tell me where you keep the shovel. And she's just shoveling shit. And she's cursing and wants to shove this thing up his... And then he's just, hey, be happy in your work. That's my advice. But before we go into the next page, I want to show you that Mark Silvestri and Jay Weems, V, are doing this fantastic piece of Medieval Spawn, this horse, and the Witchblade. Looks freaking awesome. Like I said, back in the day, there was almost the standard. There was top-notch quality art there back in the day. We don't see that much, in my opinion, of course. I mean, when was the last time that you have seen this art in a comic constantly? Not that the last 10 years. Well, not before, how do you say, 2016, 2017, I guess. There was the downfall of marveling to see. But we're not going into that now because we reserve that for another day. Anyway, so she says, "Hey, what are you looking at?" "I'm just enjoying the view, love." And just, she says, "You're really beginning to piss me off, you spot bashing Irish creep. Will you relax?" And then they are talking to each other, and they also said, "Hey, this is definitely a new low for me. I never get used to these fancy foreign lagers. Tell us, how do you manage to end up penniless?" So she's telling the story that she is also always short on cash, and lots of drinking. And she said we shared a lot of profits when she made a deal with the convoy guard on Dylan Welsh. And then Dylan the Welsh, is he still working with the Osric Five Balls, the blind navigator on Northwich? Yes, I'm afraid he is. And then, she says something about, we ended up bloody Sweden. Do you have any idea how tough it is to sell wagon loads of pornography on the Stockholm market? Wait a minute, pornography? How do you sell that? There's no movies. There's no technology. This is the medieval times. How do you sell pornography? There's no cameras, no online, no OnlyFans. It's weird. Anyway, it must be an inside joke. Anyway, so she says, and then she found something, right? She finds this gauntlet, and she says, "What is it?" "Well, I bet it's worth something, whatever it is. Find its keepers." Yeah, and it was my shite you found it in. So they're having an argument, but then, oh no, medieval Spawn and these goblins are coming to their land. There's a rift here. I'm not sure if this is another dimension or maybe part of the land. Anyway, and he says, "Katarina?" And he says, "Who? Katarina, don't just stand there, run!" All right, but she doesn't run because the gauntlet changes her, and there's some kind of a scythe coming out of her hand, and she is attacking the goblins, and she says, "Nice. Get her," says the goblins. "Come on then, scumbags. More of them. I don't know what it is or who you are, but it looks we're on the same side." Aye. Good. All right, so what follows is a gorgeous action pieces where these monsters and goblins are getting cut into two. Lots of blood and gore. And also, I love the lettering. It also has this nice, like, bevel-like shape, like it's almost 3D. And then the goblins are fleeing, and then they're unstoppable, flee. Runners, they're escaping. No, they're not. So Spawn unleashes his magic, and this whole tavern is now toast. It looks great. Coloring and shading looks nice. Very, very nice. I'm impressed. Anyway, I say that word anyway a lot, so ignore that. It's some kind of a stopping word that I'm saying all the time. I don't want to say it, but somehow it's just baked in my vocabulary. Moving on. What are you? Some kind of a sorcerer or something? Or something, he says. And you called up my name, didn't you? When you first showed up? Have we met? No, I must have been mistaken. Oh yeah? Well, who are all these freaks? How did you pop out of thin air with them? And who exactly are you anyway? And so this goblin gets an arrow in his neck. Stalker, she says. And I thought you were, yeah, later for the bollocks. Have you seen what that maniac's done to my pup? It was unavoidable. I thought you would get rid of the place. Yeah, at a profit. And what is the bloody thing doing in your hand? She says, I don't know. It jumped on me when the fight started, but it feels good. So Spawn says, I must go, ere the rip between worlds closes once again. Farewell, Katarina, he says. But then she says, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You just can't disappear. You haven't answered my questions. I cannot tarry, my lady, he says. The land of the fairy is under attack, and the battle is passing back and forth between that world and this. And I myself was dragging across this very morn. Innocent elfin folk are being murdered in the hundreds, and their homes now lie in ruin. I have slain full 10 score of these warriors of darkness, and still they come. I must return. So, and then he goes away, right, into the crack. So this tavern guy says, Katarina, do you know what's on the other side of the gateway waiting for us in the other world? What? Money! Dosh! Reedies! Filthy lucre! So basically he wants to get rid of fairy coin and gold and diamonds and all that stuff. Katarina, we have to go to the ferry now! And then the Witchblade reacts and she says, looks like someone else or something else agrees with you, Stalker. Let's go, right? And so the sorcerer says, it's the Witchblade. I heard of such weapons, but I never sure I believed. Right, Royale? Does it pose a threat to us? Well, Royale? And then it's going to be continued. So yeah, it's going to pose a threat. So yeah, pretty cool. I love it. This short story. I mean, it's a 3-parter, right? And the art looks great. The story is fun. The humor works. It's, lots of action and mystery and, light versus darkness with Spawn in the middle. And it continues in issue number 2, right? And then it ends in issue number 3. So, guys, stick around, leave a comment, let me know what you think about this comic, and I'll see you, of course, next time. Bye-bye.